First of all, I want to say this. I'm going to move a little bit out of the camera range a little bit. Okay. I want to say that we are beginning something that is going to be very unusual, and that is expanding ourselves and expanding our light in this world like we've never done before. And because we've got wonderful change coming, I chose this topic that you see, and that is preparing for the dimensional shift of 2012. There have been so many questions that have been out here about what's going to happen in 2012 that I thought, because we've been preparing for this for 35 years as IAs, that we should know the specifics of it so that we can talk about it as if we know what we're talking about. So I thought we would go through all of these. Now, we've got various purposes and things and directions to go, and I'm going to hit into some of those. You're going to see the photographers here because we're cutting a DVD, and I want to thank you for allowing us to have your beautiful bodies and your wonderful faces and your gorgeous shapes, and you know. Shall I lay it on thicker? Okay, for this DVD that we're getting ready to shoot. And the other thing is that a part of this I'm going to have on my website, and I'll tell you all about that later on. So the first hour, I'm really going to be talking about things almost in a generic way, and then some new things that you haven't. And then after the hour is up, then we get into some very meaty instruction that we have here for IAs, so you know exactly what direction that we're going to be going in, so you'll be very comfortable with this. Well, I think the first thing we need to do is to establish who we are. And with me, I am the light. With me. I am the light. The light is within me. The light moves throughout me. The light surrounds me. The light protects me. I am the light. Okay. Did you believe that? Yes. I think you can say it better. Okay, with me. I am the light. The light is within me. The light moves throughout me. The light surrounds me. The light protects me. I am the light. Now that I believe. That I believe. And that's really, really so important in this time period where we are now. I want you to be sure that you teach as many people as possible, that particular affirmation. It's very, very important that people know that in this time period. This is 2007. I am telling you, we only have about 4 years in which we are going to be at what I call the quantum part of the energy. And so you have to be sure that you surround yourselves with individuals who are going to be of the light. Now, first of all, I'm going to see if I can do this right. Our purpose today is to learn the necessary steps for personal alignments during the transitory periods leading to 2012. We're also going to learn the specific metaphysical changes that will affect the elevated mind while balancing our actions in mundane life experiences. We're going to learn how to control the mind to raise the body's frequency via the photon exchange procedure. This is something new for you. We're going to review and strengthen the cellular healing procedure and augment our healing capabilities due to rapid cellular response to changing frequencies. And we're going to practice the universal laws that we will need to master in the next 4 to 5 years. Notice what I said, that we need to master them. We're past the point of knowing what they are. We're talking about being the masters of light. That's what we must do now. Now, we're certainly ready now to enter a new era of consciousness that we are living on this particular planet. How many of you have felt the energetic changes? Very good. How many of you felt them last night? All right, and how many of you did not sleep hardly at all last night? All right. Well, welcome. During this particular period of 2007 to 2014, you will become workers of the creative light events. You will have the abilities to make contact with the minds of others, and all telepathic abilities will sharply increase. You will become very sensitive to the changes in the earth and will become excellent prognosticators of weather changes in your present time and also in your future. Your intuitive abilities will become the source of many of your decisions. Miracles will happen, and they will happen frequently, and so frequently we will quickly become believers in our own abilities as creators. Our spirituality will assume a greater depth of feeling. We will become greater believers in the powers of the source. Now you notice I'm going to be using that word, the source, quite a bit throughout this whole workshop. And the beings of light, and some of whom are our guardian angels, our spiritual guides, and all of the etheric beings who follow the creative laws of the universe will answer our commands, our requests, our prayers. And they're doing this because it has been decreed by God that they must do this. This is a completely different period in life. And you'll hear me say this often: nothing will be normal. Nothing will be normal. So expect the unusual, and then appreciate the very fact that you're here to have that unusual factor in your life. Now, we can call this period that we are experiencing in 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2010, the Great Awakening. Now, this is a grand time to be alive. I'm going to tell you this, because you are in the forefront of the ascension, the movement of our dimension to a higher frequency, to be guiding and creative in your mind, and being able to instruct and balance these energies with the mind, which will change forever the evolution of mankind. I want you to know just how important that is. You all are really very, very valuable human beings. To partake of the ascension means to climb upwards by some suggestion of movement activated by some unknown source that on its own easily lifts upward. That's what that means, to ascend. All of us will be aware of these changes, some more so than others. Some people will quickly awaken to their need to progress in 2003. There's been a rush for people to hurry and to move into a spiritual elevator, so to speak. I had students come to take the IA classes in the last 4 years that said they didn't know why they came. They had what was making them show up. They just knew that they had to take it now. And some said, I had intended to take the IA course 10 years ago, but I just hadn't gotten around to it. They have taken an important step because the energies that will be pouring in now will alter people to such a degree that they will become rapidly more of what they are. How many of you are seeing that? Very good. You're paying attention that the people in your life absolutely are showing you who they truly are. And the intensification of that truth is obvious to you. They cannot escape it. The cells in the body are altering. The consciousness is altering. And they are absolutely being true to themselves. Now, all of us will be aware of these changes, and some more than others. And some people were quickly awakened to their need in 2003. Now, businesses are now becoming more awakened. Companies are becoming more awakened. The churches are becoming more awakened. Governments are becoming more awakened. And they are functioning with spiritual principles which absolutely are going to make what has been in place disintegrate. And that's something that we are very happy about. They must know this fact, that they have to remove from their internal systems those people who are working against the pure intent of the group, the pure intent of the corporation, the pure intent of the church, the pure intent of the government. All of these things are in the process of altering now. The shifting is there. Things that were popular 4 years ago are no longer popular in the government today. And people are really looking, and the ones and the leaders are scrambling like crazy to hold on to their power. They're seeking ways that they can still pull the strings. But that will start to crumble because the energies are changing. We will see and feel much different about our lives in the middle of November 2007. By the 28th of November 2007, there will be a large wave of energy felt in our bodies, our creative lives, and on this planet. The more positive you are about your situation, the more positive you will be about the outcome of any of your wishes during that time. Those who concentrate on wealth with the right intent and motive will see success in this area, and in that area rather. This energy will stir up lots of wonderful possibilities in the monetary sense for most people. And some situations will seem to be synchronistic. The depth of feelings people will have for one another will be wonderful. I'm talking about positive feelings. Relationships will connect on a level of happiness that hasn't been felt before. The frequency connection will be different as long as each relationship connects without a hidden agenda. And that would be someone who's seeking someone else's wealth, or someone who has a desire to be taken care of instead of planning a life of joint support, or choosing someone for egotistical reasons, selecting a mate for other reasons than love, having a feeling that you want someone under your controls. whether that's psychological or physical, those things will crumble. They will pass. They will go. They will go. And you must be alert to this. You will feel the truth of another person like never before. This will be because we have the power growing now to tap into the past wisdom of those who had the same experience. There's a oneness that's all connected, in which we can travel with our minds in all of these directions to get this information. There's a new buzzword, and in my new CD, which you all will be able to get back there, the new CD, I found in research, the new buzzword for intuition is hyper-communication. And you can get this hyper-communication and find all of these things that are connected with people both in the past and the present by going through little microscopic wormholes. This is not me talking, this is science talking here. That are created by the vibrations of our thoughts and penetrates the ethers, snatching from the ethers the information that is already running around in the subatomic particles. And this is what they've discovered. Of course, we already knew that. We already knew that when we want something, we just close down and pause and go out and get it and bring it back. And we can tell exactly where we want to get it from, what year, what place, what time, what person, what anything that we wanted, we could do. And they're finding out that that is a fact. You're being validated that intuition definitely exists. And therefore, you should feel proud of the fact that you now have the other buzzword, the psychologists say, is exceptionally high IQs. So that's what an intuitive person is, a person with an exceptionally high IQ. So you're moving beyond the norm, so to speak. Now, all of these wonderful things are going to be happening, and we're going to be knowing truths like never before. But I know you're waiting for the other shoe to fall, aren't you? See, there are other wonderful things coming, but what will happen when that other shoe falls? It is up to us to control the weight of that shoe. It is up to us to control how far that shoe is here to fall on the ground where we are. We have the power to control every event that happens to us in our lives. And you must believe me telling you this right now. When you begin to feel that this is true, you will have doorways open for you like you have never had opened before. There will be nothing that will stop you. But you have got to believe that that power is inside of you to create the life that you wish. Now, my guidance has been working overtime to provide me the information that I need to convey to you about this period that we are shaping with our minds. When I asked what this experience we are having is all about, the answer came back to me clairvoyantly and clairaudiently, and it is this. And this is a quote from The Powers of Light. Every experience we have is basically linked to someone else's life. The experience then is translated within us as a feeling. The feeling then creates a hologram of color and frequency. That frequency blends with the DNA frequencies that add or subtract tonal levels in each cell. The DNA selects a vibratory tone to be downloaded to the personality. We then react, meaning we, us, we then react according to our inherited temperament and our birth relationship with the cosmos. Now that's where astrology comes in. All of our reactions are recorded in the vibratory frequency encased in our souls, in our soul cord, known as the silver. Along our silver cords are protuberances in various colors, some pretty and some not, which denotes the success of the soul's achievement or failure of the soul to achieve its assignment in this time, the present. And that's a quote from them. For me, this is a fact that I have had the privilege to scan thousands of chakras belonging to such wonderful people, you, who came to me for the IA technique. The clairvoyant scans that I did were prerequisites for acceptance into the rapid intuitive training that we were seeking. I had to have balanced individuals in front of me in order to have you access the highest part of you. And I did this from 1976 until 2005, quite a long time. And what does that silver cord show? It's very etheric, and it floated in sight, just wiggled back and forth. And it's projected from the solar plexus, because if you can remember the scans that I did on all of you, I then would look at that solar plexus, and that would tell me all that I needed to know about your past, your present, and probable future. What was so astounding was that this cord reveals the probable success or failure of the personality to achieve its soul assignment. And this is why I would say sometimes, I'm not your teacher. I would suggest you not take this course, but go to another teacher who would possibly be working with you. And so I would then have the persons that I would see and know would complete what their soul's assignment was. It showed me where periods of happiness occurred and would occur at certain ages, as well as sicknesses and sadness likely to be experienced, along with any possibility of death, which of course I would never tell you. I would never tell you. I only had one occasion. Where's Barbara Pace? Okay, Barbara's back in the back. Barbara was sponsoring an IA class in Minnesota when she lived in Minnesota. And I went up there, and this gorgeous girl came in to take the scan. And I always take the scan because I wanted everybody to have, you know, a record of what they were, how I saw them over a period of years, and what have you, and the condition of their chakras. And this beautiful girl came in, sat down, and Barbara opened up a new package of tapes, and we had her son's boom box down there, and he had used it that morning, so it was working. And we put the tape in, and I proceeded then to start to give the girl the scan, and the tape wouldn't move. It just wouldn't move. Nothing would move. So I said to her, well, I want you to have this tape. So Barbara changed and brought in another tape recorder, and we took a different tape, put that in. It didn't work. And so she said, well, we got the expensive unit upstairs. Let's move upstairs where the big, unit was and the whole thing. We go upstairs, I sit down, we put the thing in. It didn't work. So I stopped and I looked at the girl. And I said, come downstairs with me. I went downstairs. And what I saw was the shortage of her life. And I knew that this one was never going to achieve her goal of coming into this state of awareness. And so I didn't tell her that. And I said, I'm not able to give you the scan the way that I normally would, but I'll say this. I told her how wonderful life was, that she had the capability of using her mind in a very positive way, and that when she touched into the soul part of herself, the spiritual part of herself, she would find a lot of comfort. I recommended that she get psychological help, that she see her minister, and that she learn about God. And I hugged her and sent her home. Barbara and I then took the tape, put it in the boom box. It worked. We took the other tape recorder, put the tape in. It worked. We went back upstairs and we put the tape in the big unit, and it worked. And we stood there and stared at each other. And so you see, you have your own guardian angels even when you come. Anywhere you go, there's a protection. There was a protection there for us, and there was a protection there for the girl. And she just needed to have that told to her. What happened to her, I don't know. Barbara doesn't know. We do not know. But I did not see a long lifespan. It was exceedingly short. So there was a choice that I thought she was going to be making herself. Okay? Now, all of us have this silver cord. Every last one of us. And this cord vibrates to sound and pitches leading to the compatible frequencies in the cosmos. Every one of your cords in here has to answer to the sound in the universe. Based on all these experiences carried in the soul cord, which contains the hologram of all experiences of any life you have had, any life you have had, along with the causes of those experiences in which we progress or stumble. When we learn to control the mind and follow the intuition, we progress. When we don't, we stumble. The intuition is the gift from God for all mankind. Why throw it away? The purpose of those who have learned to control their intuitive abilities is to accelerate via the morphogenetic resonance. The use of our higher mind abilities has to be here for all of mankind. And when we use the intuition, it awakens every soul, every cell in the body, and influences the life forms in our vicinities. How did all those tape recorders stop? How did they stop? What was stopping them? I wasn't concentrating. Barbara wasn't concentrating. Each person comes surrounded with the guardian forces, and those things then are made manifest for you. You've got to remember this. You are never alone. You are absolutely never, ever, ever, ever alone. I want you to believe this. Believe this. Now, this has been my life's work over 35 years, to instruct others to be prepared to utilize and to teach associates and families not to be afraid when their abilities suddenly appear in those who've had no training. And I'm telling you, look out. Your little brothers and sisters and daughters and grandchildren are going to be coming up and spilling the beans about you. Because they don't know what isn't supposed to be said, you know? They will just say it because it is. They'll recognize truth and they'll feel very comfortable with any kind of truth that's there. You've got to guide them. That's why you are here. That's why you took all of these courses. You have got to be the teachers of the future. That's your purpose, to be the light for everybody in the vicinity that surrounds you. That's your job. These abilities will occur easily in the young first. There's going to be a sudden spark, boom, just like that. You wait. Those of you who teach school, you're going to be amazed. They'll be so sharp and on about what takes place inside of you and your mind, absolutely floored. Now, it's going to take place in the young first. Secondly, it'll take place in the non-drug addicted adolescents next. And the spiritual service-oriented soul individuals will move quickly third. This will be a big mind expansive state that's going to be in place, and you have to be aware of this. So I'm talking from this period of 2007 up to 2011, and that jump will be in there. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. I said the young first, the non-drug addicted adolescent next, and then the next will be the people who are spiritually oriented. All of this jumping will take place. And see, they'll be on that level that they happen to be on. So their jump may not be where your jump is. And each of you will have your own level that you will be reaching because you're all individuals. Now, this that we have to do, and passing it on, is sacred knowledge. We're bringing sacred knowledge forth in this century in a different way. And we have many voices in religion that teach faith and belief, and some of them are louder than others. I've heard them on the air. We have scientists in medicine to research and prove to those who have very little belief and faith the truth and unseen frequencies exist. They do. We can prove that we can heal. We can prove that we can transform and affect the world through the mind. We can prove that now. In this workshop, we are learning now that our minds affect nature, animals, and connect with the universe. This year, we are moving more rapidly than before towards what I call the dimensional shift. To exist in this accelerated energy, we have to prepare ourselves to learn to create joyfully the surroundings we wish to live in. Notice I said joyfully. You create joyfully the surroundings. There should be more giggling in the house. There should be more laughter in the house. There should be more finger popping in the house. You see? There should be joy in the house. You create that in your surroundings. We will learn to alter our DNA to produce light particles, which will only happen through creative mind adjustments. We will learn how to take a step in this direction in this workshop. You will ask me how often, and I'm going to tell you, you will practice it every day. Okay? When the energy increases in the atmosphere, increase your practice to every hour. Nothing will be more important than your practicing this. Why? Because what you think will be created by you rapidly. The better you become at doing this light procedure, the more light will be built in your DNA. I'm going to show you what that light procedure is. The strands in your DNA will be affected. My inner sight shows them altering their shape. When this is done, light will flash in your cells. Now, if you haven't noticed, let me remind you, nothing is as it was. From this point on, I'll say it again, nothing will be normal. To be compatible with the accelerated energy, one must be ready to seek new beginnings in this life. What you do will begin to feel that you are planning things that are going to alter your family. I'm going to tell you this. What you do, you are going to be in that whole process of altering things for your family. You must balance your life correctly in the cycles of achievement, cycles of plateau, and what's the third one? Upheaval. There are 3 cycles. Achievement, say it. Plateau, and upheaval. There are 3. I want you to say it again because people think life dumps on them. Life doesn't. It runs in an organized way. Everybody has a cycle of achievement. Say it. Everybody has a cycle of plateau. Everybody has a cycle of upheaval. After upheaval, achievement always follows. When you remember this basic teaching that you got from me a long time ago, all right, you will understand how life is functioning. And you will know that this isn't just happening, something is just happening to you because this is the worst thing that could possibly happen. It is a cycle that you're in. And to practice how to stay balanced in an upheaval cycle is your test in life. A couple of months ago, we went out to the store. We were only gone around about 2 hours. When we came back in the house, we heard all of this. And I said, who left water running? And so Derek runs downstairs to take a look to see what it was. And he said, oh my. And I said, oh my goodness, didn't want to hear that. Ran down there in the basement, and we had that much water in a 2-hour span. Hot water heaters went bang. We had 250-gallon hot water heaters. Bang, you know. And I said, oh my God. Then I said, now, what am I supposed to learn from this? I didn't go, oh my God, this is terrible. This is the worst thing that could have happened. Immediately, this is an upheaval period. This is a period of learning. All right, so then what do you have to do? All right, so funds had to come from somewhere to move this in here, and you call the right person to come in. And I started watching to see what I should do, how to handle this. The only time I think I got a little ticked was with the insurance agent. This poor young man was standing there, and we went ahead to say, I said, listen, I had Berber carpet all over the downstairs in that lower level, and I said we had to move all of this furniture out that we had down there. Teak was sitting there in water, and I said we had to move all this out. Let's get this out the way. And the man came, and he was really nice, and he was saying, now, with the rug, we'll call in somebody to go ahead and dry it out. I said, no. I said, that is not an option. That is definitely not an option. And the man goes ahead, and he's saying, and then I think I became a little more insistent when he looked at the look on my face and possibly the energy around me at that time. And the poor guy, then it dawned on me that I was letting him have it. And I said to him, I reached over because his eyes kept getting bigger. And I touched him and I said, it's not about you. I said, I'm venting here, but it's not about you. I don't want you to take this into yourself. And his auric field went. And so he said, I said, so you do understand? He said, yes, yes, I do understand. So I said, all right. I said, let me tell you to do this. Let me tell you. I said, call your boss. So he got on the phone and called the boss. And I said, you tell him that we have been with Nationwide since, how many years. Every insurance plan they have, we have. Everything you have to offer, we've got it, including flood insurance, including earthquake insurance, including all these insurances. And I would like to have my rug replaced with the same quality, same cost that was there. He tells the man that exactly what I said, word for word. You know what he said? Let her have it. Let her have it. Now, I could have stood there and screamed and screamed and screamed and carried on, screamed and screamed and screamed. I was aware of this young man's response to me putting out with force my displeasure. And I said, all right, I learned that part. Okay, so that was one part of the upheaval. Then the other thing was having someone, thank God Derek was there, to pull up all that wet carpet and everything. It was just unbelievable. And to heave up furniture and move it into another area. And we got on the phone and called everybody in the neighborhood, and they were all there for us and coming with the drive back things. And do you want me to help you here? Let's see if we can't get the. And so I learned something about my neighbors, that in a distressful time, they were willing to be there. They were there, you see, wanting to know. Didn't care how long you kept this. One guy was a builder. What did he do? He went out and brought back one of these backs that you use in a huge furnace and put that there. And so we had that whole area drying with this massive dryer that would go to a furnace. And I just said, look at this, look at this. One right after the other. Now, you want to hear something unique? We ended up getting the same man who had put down our carpet when we first built that house. What are the odds having this man who at one time changed his business, went out of his business, and then decided to come back into business, and we ended up with him. And it was like having family in the house, because you knew the mother, the sons, and what have you, watched them all grow up, and they had come in there to put it down, and it was just a wonderful thing. We ended up with the same plumbers that built the house, who had moved on to another plumber. When I looked at the odds of this taking place, and it was just a pleasure to have these kind of workmen in the house. You could go out and go on about your business, you know. It was just wonderful having them in there. And so I turned around and looked, and I have a whole new downstairs. Completely. Everything redone completely. I even bought some curtains. So and Derek's reminded me, he put up for me one of these electric curtain rods. So I've got 17 feet of a curtain rod going across one of those little extra. I love that. I tell you, it's like a toy, you know. But the fact of it is, I'm trying to let you see that out of something negative that we would call an upheaval period, something positive can come from this. So I ended up with an achievement in place that was absolutely, I got a nice little meditation room, you know, downstairs there with a little quiet center that I hadn't created before. So I want you to know that in this period, you're going to have these ticky-tack things and some big things that might take place. I want you to remember how I handle this. I want you to remember how I handle this, so that you will in turn know how to handle that situation that will bring, that you will come face to face with. We are in a time period right now where age doesn't matter. And you all know my age, right? Okay, all right. Age doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. You got 90-year-olds out here with their own TV show, cooking shows, sex advice. You have those going to school. I'm telling you that they're getting up and going to college at 90 years of age, opening up businesses, getting together, having bands. I mean, on the net, there's a group of 80 and 90-year-olds that got on just for fun, you know, YouTube, and they were hits. Everybody was, now they got a recording contract. Did you know that? They turned around and they showed a bunch of them that were around about 82, 75 that had formed a skating club. And they do acrobatic things on skates and everything. I'm amazed. What they're doing is they are setting the ground work for all of our work for the future. You're not going to be leaning on a cane and dying at an early age. You are creating the body that you want with your mind. You are creating that body with your mind. What you want is exactly what you are going to get. Now, there are times during the day when you are going to have to make a list of things that you want and things that you don't want. For your assignment, I would like for you to make sure that you create 3 things that you really do want. Now, I don't want you to do it right now because we're not going to take that time. But I want you to also create 3 things that you don't want. Because until you know what you don't want, you don't know what you do want. Because when you're using your mind, you are constantly thinking about what you don't want. And that's what you're creating, what you don't want. The more you keep your mind on that negative, the more it solidifies. And then it proceeds to move. Now, how is that? Why is all of that? That comes into being because you are in the process of utilizing what we call the force. You are utilizing the matrix. You are utilizing subatomic particles, the 0-point energy. You can call it what you want. It is energy that has its own basic frequency that absolutely adheres to you and your thoughts. So when we proceed to pay attention to what we want, we create this energy. It starts to move. Now I'm going to show you something that happened to me in 1970. In 1970, I didn't know this, but my guardian teachers were busy around me, but I wasn't that much aware of them. And they were preparing me for this time period here. So I'm going to tell you what happened. I was sitting in my room in the Randallstown house. We lived in Randallstown, Maryland. And while I was meditating in the family room there, all of a sudden this force of energy that had a face on it, I mean a face, eyes that proceeded to move outward with streaks of yellow and red that just poured off of the face, living energy just pulsating off of this face. Face was shaped like this. The eyes were very kind. And the energy was pulsing so strongly through the body that I felt like I was on fire, both in the top of the head and all in the back. And there, with this energy in my consciousness, I could not absolutely open up my eyes. And it said, all that you desire shall be yours. I was scared to death. I told this story to a workshop up there in Carleton College in the early 80s, and there was a wonderful artist sitting in my workshop at that time, Arthur Douay. And Arthur Douay almost jumped out of his seat when I proceeded to describe the energy of the yellow and the orange and the white flowing off and the look on the face. And he said to me, "That's a deva. I see devas. I have pictures of the devas." And he presented me with the deva, which is the Kundalini deva. This is what I saw. Now I'm going to tell you, this scared the living bejeebus out of me. I mean, the fire inside the body, along with that vibration, was something else. And for Arthur Douay to say that he'd seen these, he could go where waterfalls were and then draw the devas that he saw in the waterfalls. All of these, having that kind of etheric sight, was absolutely beautiful. But when that particular being said, all that you desire shall be yours, I was really not at this stage where I am now, where I would absolutely believe that I'd be worthy of having something coming because the desire was there. We didn't know about the matrix, and we didn't know about the force then, and we didn't know about the source then. We didn't know those things. We didn't know about 0-point energy. We didn't know those things. But these are the creatures that can help operate and bring those things in place because that's their job. They work on that level. And so let me tell you what happened. So that happened, and my eyes flew open. I jumped up out of my seat and I ran downstairs to the basement. Jim was down there in the basement, and I sat down there on the steps. And he turned and he looked at me and he said, "So, what's the matter?" I said, "Nothing." And so he said, what is it? So I said, "You're not going to believe this." So I went ahead and I told him what was happening and everything. He looked at me, shook his head. I said, "You don't believe this." So the point is this. 1 week later, 1 week, I was standing at the sink and I was scraping off the dishes to go into the dishwasher. And I said, what I need is a vegetable brush to clean off the stuff off these plates so I can put them in the dishwasher here. I really I need one of these. I'm tired of this. An hour later, doorbell rings. I open up the door, and this man is standing there. "Good evening." I said, "Good evening. I'm your full of brush man." And I said, "Yes." And so he said, "May I show you some of my wares?" Everything he pulled out, I said, "No, no, no, no." And he said, "Well, thank you so much." And so for being such a wonderful lady, let me give you a present. And you guessed it. He pulls out this vegetable brush and presents this to me. I take the brush and I said to myself, synchronicity. This has got to be by accident. This is strictly by chance. I said, I'm not going to go in here. That's it. And so he then goes ahead. He leaves. I get the brush. And then 2 days later, it came to the weekend. A teacher in my school system and I always would have lunch on weekends. We'd prepare fancy meals and stuff. And it was my turn, and I was going to have these tomatoes, and stuffed tomatoes. And you needed a special kind of tomato so you could put the little points around it and stuff the shrimp salad on the inside. And I kept looking in my head, I need these. Went all over the place, couldn't find these 3 lousy tomatoes. And so Jim comes home from work, and at that time he was working at Andrews Air Force Base as a biochemist. And so he comes in and he says, you know Gordon, the virologist in our lab? And I said, yeah. He says he sent you something. And I said, well, what could he send me? So he's got this little paper bag, and he hands me this bag, and I looked inside, and I said, oh no. There were 3 perfect, not 4, not 5, 3 perfect round tomatoes. Not a flaw, not a thing on it. And so I said, think about this. So I said, maybe if I really put my mind to it this time, let's see what would happen. So approximately about a week later, I get hungry. I'm cleaning the house, and I said, I know I'd like to have a Harley's submarine sandwich. Now, all those from Baltimore know Harley's submarine sandwich. It was the best. I mean, they were that big, and I mean, crusty bread, and pastrami on the inside, and the onions and the tomatoes and the cheese and everything. It was good. And I'm telling you, I had that in my mind and put it out of my mind. Went about cleaning my house, doorbell rings. Girlfriend across the street comes over. Connie? Yeah. I sent her to get me a sandwich. Do you know he went 25 miles into Baltimore and got a Harley sandwich? Nobody's going to be able to eat a Harley sandwich. That's that long. Would you take half of these? I said, I sure will. I sure will. So I took that half, and that made a believer out of me. I'm going to tell you. So while this was going on, I decided I would go ahead and put this to a test. So I invited a group of people who were in Spiritual Frontiers Fellowship at that time to work in a manifestation group with me. And so we'd sit around the dining room table, and we decided then we would try to manifest something positive that we wanted. And you had to make sure that you had somebody that could verify that this is the way it came, and we had everything, you know, done in a very organized way so it would look like we were doing some good research. And my stepfather was in this group, and he didn't believe in anything. And so his job was to be in this group to prove me wrong, okay? So I said, let's take a look at something that you really want, and then we'll work on this for 1 month in manifesting, and then you come back. Well, he had chosen to look for new shoes. He wanted new shoes. He also wanted other things, but he wanted shoes more than he wanted anything else. In that whole process, out of all of them, he manifested the most. Not believing, he manifested the most. When we came back a month later, he kept saying, let me go first. Let me tell everybody what happened. Let me go first. And so I said, okay. He said, well, there's a man across the street became ill. And he said, and his wife came over and said that that her husband was not going to be able to use their shoes. You all know the story. They know Charles. And said, I absolutely cannot keep these shoes because he'll never use them. He'll never walk again, and the whole thing. And would you like to have them? Well, he said, I got not one pair of new shoes. I got 7 pairs of brand new shoes my size. And he said this made him think that if you can use your thoughts to create something positive, what will happen if you use your thoughts to create something negative? So that frightened him. And then he decided not to come back. He thought that if he ignored the fact that if he thought a thing and it was wrong, that if he just ignored that, that would be the end of that. And that's not the case. It still is ongoing. And what I want to say to you is to be so very, very aware of what's going on in this world that you can keep up with the frequency that is coming into your home and your life. TV, I want to tell you something that Time magazine just said. In a recent survey, in 180 hours of TV programming between 7 and 9 p.m., it was discovered that there were 2,246 instances of violent, profane, and sexual content. 1 every 4.8 minutes between 7 and 9 o'clock, mainly on Fox TV. You have got to understand that you are proliferating the negativity in your house when you are letting your TV run like that. Those waves are being created. And so I want you to be very, very, very careful on this. There's an old story that talks about the gods that exist. The gods wanted to make sure that mankind didn't get hold of the power, because they said if they find out where the power happens to be, that they're going to do something with it. So God, number one, said, let's put this power at the top of the mountain, up high. They'll never be able to do that. They'll never be able to see it. And then there we are. We're climbing the mountains. We're even going through mountains. And so God said, God number two said, suppose we go ahead and we'll put this at the bottom of the sea. They'll never be able to do anything with the seas. So what did we do? We went scuba diving, we took submarines, we went to the bottom of the sea, we've seen everything. And so the third God said, why don't we take them and put the greatest wisdom in the world out in space. We'll put it there because they'll never go there. And lo and behold, guess what? We've done it all. We've even floated a house around the buildings, out in the not the building, but created a space station there to go around the earth. All of this is there for us right now because we had the creativity and the power to put it there. But then one God said, let's put the power, the greatest power there is inside of man, because he will not believe that it is there. And they were wrong, because we do know where the greatest power is. And we have found the greatest power inside of us. We have imagination. We have intuition. Everything that there is, we can create. And so, I want to show this one, and I think we'll show, we're going to show you something that has taken place that show how the power from one little man, 4'11", created a castle out of coral in Florida. That little seat he's sitting in is very comfortable. I sat in it. It's as smooth as glass. No one knows how he was able to craft a castle out of coral. He himself discovered the secret that the Egyptians used. And he said the only need to know about the particles and the poles. If you have the poles and you have the particles, you will be able to do many, many things. And science never understood this. To today, they do not know how he did this. He did it alone. No one knew his secret. He had everything crafted and heaved into place by himself. Now, other miracles take place when you know that you have belief and when you can use prayer. And I want you to see something that took place in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And this is called the mysterious staircase.
I've been so many places in my life and time. I've sung a lot of songs, and I made some bad rhymes. Acted out my life in stages with 10,000 people watching. But we're alone now, and I'm singing this song to you. I know your image of me is what I hope to be. I've treated you unkindly, but darling, can't you see? There's no one more important to me. Baby, can't you see through me? 'Cause we're alone now, and I'm singing this song to you. You told me precious secrets of a true love, withholding nothing. You came out front when I was hiding. Now I'm so much better, and if my words don't come together, listen to the melody, 'cause my love's in there hiding. of time. I love you for my life, 'cause you're a friend of mine. And when my life is over, remember when we were together. We were alone, and I was singing this song to you. We were alone, and I was singing this song to you. We were alone.
Now, you've seen two examples of miracles created by one man each. In every case, there was something that I want you to be aware of. They never talked to people who did not believe what they were doing was going to work. The nuns prayed in a community where the prayer was accepted. At the end of 9 days, they ceased their prayer. At the end of 9 days, the carpenter appeared. What you want, you will get. All that you desire shall be yours. I want you to remember that. Before we go, before we end, I want you to say that light affirmation, because this is something I would like to have completely for everybody that ever sees this DVD. And with me, we will say, I am the light. I am the light. The light is within me. The light moves throughout me. The light surrounds me. The light protects me. I am the light.